Hello and welcome to Love Lust Betrayal. Before starting the story, please subscribe and press bell icon. Thanks. Let's dive into the story. I've gone through a lot of struggles and losses in my life, but I never thought betrayal could be so terrible. It stings when years of love and effort are totally disregarded. But my story is about more than just betrayal, it's about standing up for honor and principles. It all began when my wife said something. John, please remember to like and subscribe to my video before I share the story of what transpired between my wife, me, and this man. James is my name. I am 52 years old, and I have dedicated my entire life to establishing my own company. When I was very young, my father passed away, but I was still able to take over a small garage and turn it into the company it is today. My small car dealership is something I built myself, so it's not exactly a luxury. It means a lot to me that people know me for being honest. When Amelia was a second-year law student 25 years ago, I met her. I was impressed by her ambition, intelligence, and fortitude in the face of difficulty. We quickly got married after falling in love. Although it wasn't flawless, our life was stable. To help her finish, I put in twice as much effort. She studies law and raises our kids. Ryan and Jake, while she developed a prosperous career, I assumed the roles of mother and father. I put a lot of effort into growing professionally and making my family happy, but last year everything changed. A large legal firm made Amelia an offer that included a higher salary and a more prestigious position in an office overlooking the city. She couldn't stop talking about her new boss, John, and was overjoyed to be joining the firm. She claimed at the time that John was a brilliant leader. I'm not the envious kind. We had lived together for 25 years, so I trusted her, but as time went on, I began to see some changes. Initially, they were minor. She began dressing more tastefully, her home smelled of foreign perfumes, and she kept looking at her phone as though she was concealing something. Her working hours grew longer, business dinners increased, and weekend activities increased, but I still believed there might be a rational explanation for this possible work stress. Every time I questioned her, the fake calm on her face made me feel suffocated, but the night I made the decision to confront her was the real blow. She finally made it home after waiting for hours. I was at my breaking point. Isn't something wrong, Amelia? I inquired. Although I spoke calmly, I was a storm inside. She initially attempted to dodge the question, but after I persisted, she finally gave in, and I have been having an affair with John. She admitted. My world fell apart at that very moment. 25 years of marriage, the burden of raising 2 kids, and all the sacrifices were all gone in an instant, but what hurt the most was that she said this without showing any signs of regret. The real story had just begun, so if you believe this is the end, you're mistaken. My life fell apart after Ellie's confession, but I wasn't the type to remain silent. The same phrase kept repeating in my mind for days. I had an affair with John. The conceit of one man in Ellie's betrayal destroyed the life I had accumulated over the years. A marriage founded on hard work and loyalty, but I wasn't going to let it end that way. John would have to realize how mistaken he was if he thought of himself as a true man. When I drove to work that morning, I wanted to see his face. A plan started to take shape in my mind as I pulled into the dealership. Her words from the previous evening kept coming back to me. John was a leader, she told me. John only knew how to steal and destroy. In my view, leadership was about integrity, honor, and sacrifice. I would be happy to test his leadership if necessary. John abruptly showed up at my dealership at noon, wearing a pricey suit and grinning smugly. Without hesitation, he entered my office, sat down across from me, crossed his legs, and exuded superiority. I think it's time we handled this like men, real men, he said condescendingly. James, even though his words made me shudder, I sat quietly and remained composed as he went on. We've developed a relationship and mutual understanding, he added. James, your life with her is over. You and I can give her the life she deserves. He stopped and looked at me scornfully. You are merely a menial automobile salesperson. We can resolve this amicably if you sign these documents. On my desk, he laid a thick envelope. He clarified that the documents were a restraining order and a divorce. They were already signed by Amelia. Everything would be resolved amicably if you signed them too, if not, he said. My 20-person legal team is prepared to ruin you, your job, your house, and everything else that is worth defending. My anger erupted like a volcano inside of me at that very moment. I got up, reached for the table's edge, and leaned in his direction. You mentioned wanting to be a real man, didn't you? I said in a composed yet menacing tone, allowing me to demonstrate what a true man looks like. My fist struck his face before he could react. His nose cracked and he fell to the ground and I heard a crunching sound. His face was etched with shock and pain. Pay close attention to what I have to say, I said as he lay on the ground, his face streaming with blood. My story is this. My marriage was ruined by you and Amelia, but you won't ruin me. John, it would be the greatest regret of your life if you ever attempted to threaten me once more. Quickly stood up and silently left my office, but that was only the start. I still needed to confront Amelia and make this a permanent resolution. Amelia was sitting in the living room when I arrived home that night. I will never forget the look on her face. I couldn't tell if it was regret or guilt, but I knew that my love for her was gone and it was intolerable to live with her. I have a question for you, Amelia. After 25 years, all the sacrifices, all the memories, all the effort, it doesn't matter anymore. It no longer makes sense, I said calmly, but with a tone of repressed rage. She kept her head down and said nothing. There was silence for a moment. Then she inhaled deeply and started talking. You must realize that I've changed, James. I've begun to desire more. I simply feel as though we are both stuck in the same spot. John promises to give me the life I desire. My fists clenched when I heard his name again. Did you ever tell me you didn't want this life? That's the life you want. I really care about your happiness, but you're living a lie here rather than communicating with me. Her face shifted to one of defensiveness and mild rage. I made a mistake with James, she admitted, but John and I are no longer at odds. I didn't even defend him when he claimed that you had struck him in the workplace. Her admission only made me more enraged rather than less. You are now the issue, not John. We're no longer married. We're done with Elio. Tears filled her eyes and my words caused her great pain, but I remained unmoved. After years of wiping away her tears, I no longer cared about her regret. Don't do this to me, James. Her voice trembled as she said, I love you, but her words were meaningless. The story ended when I firmly stated, if you love me, Amelia, you wouldn't do this to me. All of your possessions will be at the door tomorrow morning. Your access to our accounts has been terminated. Go with what you need. We're done. The woman who had denigrated me for years and looked for other options now frantically sought a way out, and her panicked expression gave me a weird sense of satisfaction. She whispered, You can't do this to me. I'll get legal counsel and take all of it from you. With a silent smile, I removed the divorce documents from my jacket pocket. You won't lose anything if you sign them. All you'll get is what you're worried about right now, but I'll push back if you push me. I won't let you forget who I am, Amelia. I will not allow you to forget. Her face flashed with genuine frustration at that precise moment. She understood the gravity of what I had said. She took the paper and started reading it quietly. Her eyes began to well up with tears, but this time I did not wipe them away. She was gone the following morning. Even though the house was deserted and the room that had been filled with joyful memories was now silent, I felt calm. The most important thing was that I had kept my identity and dignity intact.